Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Tuesday morning. It's a business segment today. That's right, the focal point on business. We're going to take you around the world with some video, my friends, and talk to a travel agent, a first-time guest here, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Do call in. Connect with Me starts right now.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. So glad you're here. The focus is on business today, and we'll talk to a travel agent that may want to help you. I know she wants to help you, but whether or not you want to be helped is that's the big question today. So you can call in. We have an open phone line. You can talk to our guest about well, if you want to book a flight overseas. She only deals with international bookings, nothing domestically, although she has before in the past, but we'll talk about that during the course of the program. So sit tight, my friends, sit back. Hey, by the way, tomorrow we've got Walter Salvari coming in. He is from the SPCA. He has been here before. Also, somebody is going to come in from the Teachers Union to give us an update, a major update on what's going on with the potential teachers strike at Fresno Unified School District. Meanwhile, you're watching us live on Comcast Channel 375. It's Monday through Friday, a live television show program on Comcast Cable Television, or you can watch us on 13.1, 43.6 over-the-air television broadcast with an antenna. Then you can catch the replay at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight, 4.6 Biz TV. After that, go to our webpage, venturatelevisionbroadcasting.com, and connect with the Connect with Me webpage, and you can catch all of our programs. Hey, a simple question on today's program, a very simple question. I didn't know this until I looked it up, but for about 300 years, what was the most important city in Europe? For about 300 years, from a political standpoint, economically, and culturally. Can you answer that? I couldn't until I looked it up. Roll the videotape, my friends. No, this is not Jeopardy. This is Connect with Me. But the answer is a very simple one. Florence, Italy. Look at how beautiful that city is. Back in the 14th, 15th, and 16th century, it was flourishing. One of the wealthiest places anywhere on the planet, the center for trade and finance, the birthplace of Italian Renaissance and the capital city of the Italian region known as Tuscany. It's been called the Athens of the Middle Ages. It has a rich and turbulent political history. Today, nearly 400,000 people live within the city limits, more than 1.5 million currently living in the metro area. Noted for its culture, Renaissance art, architecture, monuments, museums, art galleries. Florence has also been ranked in the top 15 for fashion in the entire world. Some of the best things to do if you're planning a vacation or a honeymoon to Florence, or maybe a second honeymoon, well, you can climb the bell tower, you can rent a bike. Bikes are very popular there. Visit the Santa Trinita Basilica. Enjoy the sights, the sounds, and the food. If you're not sure about booking or how to book or who to call, you might want to consider a travel agent. They usually are very happy to try to assist you. But Florence, Italy is one of those destinations. It's one of those places you have to do. It's got to be on your bucket list, as is Athens, as is Rome, and a few other places too, maybe Amsterdam, perhaps Paris. Live in our studio right now is Camille Sanders. She is the owner of Chick Romance Travel here in the city of Fresno. She's been around for 28 years. She's owned her own agency for the past 12. You can call in, weigh in. She books weddings. She doesn't only book the wedding party, the people that are in the wedding. She books everybody, including the guests. So if you have 200 guests, she'll book the flight to Florence for everyone. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back with your phone calls and your questions in just a moment.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
So, my friends, if you're trying to book a trip, or, if you're in a wedding party, planning a wedding, or you're going to a wedding overseas, our guest today, Camille Sanders, can help you book that. Good morning, Camille. How are you? Nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you
so
for
you like
having
that
me.
video we pulled of Florence?
I did. It's beautiful. Florence is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
travel video. So let me ask you this right off the bat, just so I can get it out of the way, because it's been bothering me for the last day or so. Okay. Back in the old days when I booked, I wanted to take a flight, I just call the airline and say, hey, I want to go to New York. Okay.
Right. Right.
Okay, when do you want to go? And I booked the flight, no problem. Today it's a little bit different. You have all these websites. You got Travelocity, you have Trivago. I can't even think of all the other. So why should somebody use a travel agent? What is the big advantage?
Big advantage is we're an advocate for the traveler that we're helping. Plus, like you mentioned, you're having to call the airline, stay on hold, maybe even book it online, and then you're off to trying to book a hotel, and then maybe that's all time consuming. So
yeah.
you can call a travel agent while you're still enjoying, whatever you're doing, and we can take care of it for you and get everything booked, lined up. Then while you're overseas, if you have an issue, I'm there for you. So versus, now you have to call the airline, now you have to work out your transfers, you have somebody in your corner for you.
Yeah, and can you get me those reduced rates? I'm looking for a reduced rate. If I want to go
Definitely.
overseas, I know you don't deal domestically, we'll get into that. How can you get me these big discounts? Because if you book, back in the day, I'm going back a long time, maybe before the internet, it used to be if you book 2 weeks in advance,
Right.
you'd get that big, huge discount.
And sometimes even further in advance to get even a bigger discount.
Yeah, 6 months. Let's say you plan in January for a
Right.
summer vacation.
Yep.
I know people that did that. They got a huge discount. It's almost like cut in half.
And it normally is, especially when you're talking airlines, for instance.
Does that still go on? Can you get those discounts like
you
that?
still can get the discounts by booking early. Usually when it's airline tickets, usually 6 months to 8 months is a good time to start looking for flights.
Really? For a
Yep,
vacation?
For a
Booking
vacation. Yep, for a vacation. Much further than that, you're...
What's the risk if you book like a year or two out?
most of the time, airlines don't allow you to book until you're within 320 days of travel. But
Why?
Because that's when their flight schedules are actually coming up. And they're like right now, John, they're looking at trying to fill their planes for, fall and winter. They're not even working on next summer. The flights are out
So how far in
there.
advance do they know about the scheduled flights that are going to and from, say, New York or Amsterdam or wherever?
Usually just under a year. So,
Under a year.
Yeah, some airlines are 300 days, some are 320 when they're just getting their schedules posted.
And can you tell me, I don't know if you can actually play favorites here, can you tell the client which airline is the best in terms of service? Because look, I used to fly all the time. I
Right.
didn't fly much internationally.
Right.
I've been to Europe, I've been to Israel, I've been to Turkey, I've been to South America, Brazil.
Right.
But beyond that, I'm not this world traveler. I've mostly traveled around the country.
Right.
So in terms of service, when I did go, my favorite all-time airline of all the airlines I've ever flown was Lufthansa.
Lufthansa is
That
great.
was the greatest for
Right.
me. I don't know if it still is, but do you play favorites? You tell a client, hey, I'm going to book you with American because they're the best.
To some extent, yes.
And then you're going to tell that client why they're the best and why.
Of course, and then obviously price. Like somebody flying into London, there's multiple airlines to fly into London. British Airlines, Virgin Atlantic would be my top two to give somebody as an option. And what's nice about that, and then I would go into, especially if they're traveling with kids or without kids, seat back, TV in the middle, in the back of their own seat. They have control over that.
Yeah.
Different movies, perks to what that airline, because, John, many airlines are very,
Which airline should I avoid? Which airline is not going to drag me off the plane?
Right, exactly,
Remember
exactly.
that?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. United was
All right.
that one.
Caller, thank you for calling. Go ahead. You're on the air with Connect with me, Camille Sanders. She's the owner of Chick Romance Travel. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to ask her. My son and his fiance and a couple of friends were going to go to Puerto Rico 2 weeks before the storm and everything hit. Okay, and that was the trip they were going to take. But they found out about the storm and it's going to be a bad one and whatnot. I wanted to know how a person can they get their refunds back, knowing that there's going to be what happened, in Puerto Rico. Now, they had to wait, I believe, a week before to see if it was going to be bad or whatever, but it happened to be bad. So they were not able to get the refund, but get a different, I guess, an exchange for going to a trip. So they optioned to get go to Hawaii. So I thought that was pretty good. I think they had to pay an extra $60. They had also rented a house, and that was included. So they got the house to rent, But how does that work, especially when what happened with Puerto Rico? That's really what I want to know. Thank you.
Yeah. We all know what happened in Puerto Rico, so,
Yeah, it's so
obviously are you still booking for Puerto Rico, or obviously
currently not? Yep.
Yeah,
No,
for obvious
reasons. Power's out. The airport is still closed.
Yeah.
For those obvious reasons.
Did they give you any indication, your sources, how long Puerto Rico is going to be down?
No, not at this point. Not at this point. They're varying on different, things, cleanup and power and, some necessities that they really need to get going.
Yeah.
But for this caller, I'm not sure, he didn't mention if you booked through a travel agent or agency, but in that event, depending on how he was booked and how they were traveling, they would have been able to contact the travel agent or agency, and they would have helped and assist them in that situation.
So if you had a client down in Puerto Rico that was stuck there, how would you help them get out of there?
A couple different ways. We have different connections on the ground in certain.
If the airport's closed, you can't get out.
No. In that case, you can't. And I know some of them were running helicopters back and forth to some of the other islands. Cruise lines actually stepped in and were, taking passengers off, things like that.
Yeah, and then the Jones Act had been lifted. I guess the president lifted that, so ships could go in without having to stop here first and then go there.
And then go in for a U.S. port.
And a lot of people weren't even aware of the Jones Act. They weren't aware that the ships had to stop here first.
Right, exactly.
So I wonder why that wasn't lifted immediately, because that's a huge thing. And so what's the latest in Puerto Rico from what you're hearing?
That they're just trying to clean up things and, try to get back going. So.
And you're not sure how long it's going to be before that airport's open?
No.
Yeah. Is that hurting your business a little bit, or?
No, not so much, because, international is so big, and those that were looking at Puerto Rico, are, like the caller said, they're going to other areas now.
How popular was that destination, Puerto Rico, in your eyes?
It was pretty popular, though. As far as Caribbean islands go, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Dominican Republic, those are some of the other islands. Not so much St. Martin, even St. Thomas, not so much.
St. Thomas,
no, the U.S. Usually, unless you don't have a passport or can't get a passport, most people will, go to those islands if they can, or as a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
But if you have your passport, you're
Makes it
usually
easier.
traveling to other islands.
Yeah, now let me ask
cruising
you a
other-
question before I go to break here, and that is, can you help someone get their passport?
Yes, I can give them information to get the passport and get it processing.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a timely fashion.
Definitely.
And if you want to get it quicker, you have to pay more, don't you?
Right, yeah.
Pay an extra fee?
Yes. Normally for passports, 6 to 8 weeks is usually about the average.
But you can speed that up if
You
you
can,
want.
and you can get it, usually 48 hours to a week prior, depending on how quickly you need it. But it does
You're
cost.
gonna pay.
It's usually over $100 additional to
Wow.
get it. Yeah.
Okay. All
and
right.
passports are good for 10 years. So.
Hey, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Camille Sanders is here, and she's with Chick Romance Travel. She's owned her own agency for the past 12 years. The focal point is on business, so if you're looking to travel internationally, we got some videos to pull besides the one we already talked about, Florence, Italy. But there's so many places in Italy that you can see. I mean, obviously besides Rome. I mean, I've not been there, but I know people who have been there, and they say it's beautiful. But there are so many other places across the globe, my friends. It's the bucket list. What will you do? What can you do? What can you afford to do before you die? You have to do. All right. 436 MeTV option 11. Back with more of our program in a moment.
The following is a list of celebrities you will not see on MeTV programs. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Snooki, Paris Hilton, Perez Hilton, Honey Boo Boo, Justin Bieber, Simon Cowell, Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, and the Real Housewives of any place. This is who you will see on MeTV programs. Lucy, Ralph, Mary, Perry, Gilligan, Kenneth, Spock, Batman, Rowdy, Festus, and the Beaver. MeTV. Thanks for watching.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator. The first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
I was just telling Camille, you know what it would cost me to book a trip with my 2 kids overseas? Oh my God, that would be a fortune.
We have consolidated air, which a lot of people
What's
don't
that?
know about. Instead of just calling the airline for an international flight by
Yeah.
using a travel agent,
Yeah.
we work with companies that do consolidated air, where they're getting the airfare much less expensive than, so like a ticket, for instance, from San Francisco or LA to take off to go
Athens.
to Athens, let's say, it can be $1,200, $1,000 to $1,200
For one person.
per person, round trip.
Okay, so that's $3,000 just for the flight.
Right, and
And
that's
then if you
depending
want
on
you're
time of
talking
year.
about the hotels.
Then you have hotels, but what I was going to say on the airfare, that might be a normal airfare price, but by using a travel agent or travel agency like myself, we can get consolidated air, and you can say, it can be like $800 to $900 less.
Oh, I
So
see.
it could be a lot less expensive, and then when you're talking a party of 3, you can be,
Yeah.
saving quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And the service isn't any different.
You just
So,
have to, you just have to plan it out.
Right.
But I wouldn't fly overseas unless I did fly Lufthansa. I'd have to fly Lufthansa because
Right.
that's I mean that airline was terrific.
Right. They
I
are,
can't
and
say
they are
enough
still
about
good.
it.
Swiss Air is good, and it really depends on the destination you're traveling to. And a lot of
Well,
the
they went right into
foreign,
Athens.
Yeah, and they do. But if you were picking somewhere else, like
Yeah.
Florence or Venice, or different locations,
You have to switch airlines.
switch airlines. Yeah, a couple stops normally, especially for the West Coast.
Yeah, no problem. So how? Okay, if I want to book an international flight, say with
Mm-hmm.
Camille Sanders, that would be you.
Yes.
I don't have to pay you for the service?
No, by using most travel agencies don't charge, and
So how do
that's
you
the
get paid then?
misconception. Yeah, we actually get paid by the airlines or by the tour operator that we're using.
Oh.
So actually, if a consumer going direct, like we talked about some of the .coms out there, you're really missing the extra. You're basically paying to use a travel agent and paying the same price, but you're not getting the service level that you could be getting by using a travel agent or agency.
I see.
So a lot of times the prices are either the same or less by doing a travel agent. Plus, you're not spending all that time online doing all the searching, because you can spend sometimes 3 to 12 hours just yourself by whether it's a honeymoon, family traveling, a destination wedding abroad.
Well, this is what we did, and tell me if you think this is a good idea. I'm only going by my own experience, and that's the only experience I could talk about. It's my own. I don't know about anybody else's, but my ex-wife and I, we traveled. We went to Greece. We went all over, but and she booked the flight. I think it was online, actually. It was quite a few years ago. So we got to Greece, and we met up with a friend there who drove us to the airport, and this friend had, I guess, a stake in one of the tour businesses. So we went on a cruise to all the islands.
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So, okay, is that the way to do it, or should I book that cruise through you, or do I wait till I get there to book that cruise on the islands?
Definitely don't want to wait until you get there, whether it's a cruise or a tour or something. Booking those
But back then it wasn't that expensive. And we went to just about all the islands.
Right, exactly. But booking it ahead of time, you're able to make sure it's not sold out because of people traveling more, having their bucket list and checking those off and just going abroad. More people travel now than what they did 10, 15, 20 years ago.
More people traveling now?
Yes.
Because?
Just because they want to get out and experience, life, experience the destinations, create memories. We're finding in some of the travel surveys that are out there that most people are wanting to, even families with kids, are wanting to build those memories and create those experiences as a family versus going and buying some car or buying another house. They're actually taking time now and really starting to travel more.
So the lifestyles of the American family have changed to a certain extent.
Definitely.
You talking about millennials?
Yes, millennials. Even up to baby boomers.
What about people my age, baby boomers?
Definitely. Generational.
What are they doing?
A lot of them are doing generational trips. So not only
the baby boomers are?
Yes, with their children.
Are they worried about
and
retirement?
Grandchildren. Some of them are not.
They don't care.
They don't care. They want to experience and enjoy life with the children now. Then.
Is the attitude, gee, I may be dead in 10 minutes. Let's book that trip.
Just enjoy life and let's book it and let's go.
Book it.
And enjoying that time with grandchildren and children and,
Well,
so we've been doing groups, a lot of groups.
Yeah, hopefully I don't have grandchildren for quite some time because my kids are way too young for that. But, okay, you know what I'd like to do, because I want Camille to be able to talk about Florence. I know we saw it in a monologue, and it's going to be redundant. Okay, so I'm going to run it anyway. So I'm going to be redundant. Let's roll the videotape on Florence again. We saw it in the monologue. This is Florence, Italy. I already kind of mentioned a little bit of history about Florence. So you've been there. I have not been there.
I have.
Tell me something that I didn't already know that I mentioned in the monologue. Well, what's so great about Florence?
It depends on what you're looking for as far as a customer going or wanting to a traveler going here.
Okay, I'm seeing bridges and rooftops here.
This particular bridge and rooftop, there is tons of shopping here.
There is?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Right there, what bridge is that?
Yep.
Do you know?
I don't remember offhand what bridge that is.
But there's shopping there.
But there is shopping, and it's the cute little bridge. It has cobblestone.
Okay.
That you're walking on, and just little
what about
shops.
This area here? You know
this
that area
is the
there?
plaza area. It's gorgeous there. They have beautiful churches, even if you're not Catholic. Highly
Hear that,
recommend. Hear that, Carrie? Highly recommend going and checking out the
What river?
churches.
What river is that? You
I
forgot.
just forgot. Yeah,
It's okay.
sorry. But
Brain freeze.
yes, exactly. But the churches are beautiful. The stained glass,
Are
the
there
architecture.
churches all over the place in
Florence? There are.
Like
in
at every
most,
corner? Like
not,
in Athens?
Not quite every corner, but there's quite a
Almost.
few, yeah. And this was one area during the war with Hitler that Hitler loved this area. And
Yeah,
so
that's what I read.
Yes, and this was one of the areas that they tried to stay out of because he loved Florence and loved the area and the
Right. He didn't want to destroy anything in Florence, from what I read, because of his love and affection for this part of the world.
This part of the world, right? Exactly. So that's why a lot of the history for so many years,
Is that a church
century.
right there?
Yes, that's a church.
Okay.
For so many years is still available to us today because it wasn't destroyed during that time.
Thank goodness he had a heart for something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah,
He
very
had no
few
heart for
things.
anything else
No,
or anyone
definitely
else
not.
but
Right.
himself. But anyway, let's
Exactly.
not get into that.
Yeah, another story.
Let's talk about another city I have not been to, and we'll talk more about your travel agency here. Let's do Paris. Do you want to go to Paris, Carrie? You want Paris? Let's roll Paris. Okay, you don't know. We're undecided here. But Paris is one place that I have not been to, and obviously I'd like to go there just to see the Eiffel Tower, if nothing else. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the question I'm going to set this up with, and you can look at the video and comment what we're looking at. A lot of terrorism in France right now. There have been terrorist activities, terrorist groups there. We know about some of the bombings and some of the terrorist activities that have taken place just in recent times.
Right.
Are people afraid to book a flight to Paris because of that? Have you heard customers mention that? Gee, I don't know about Paris. Is it safe?
We get a few people that are Paris, they'll say, I don't want to travel to Europe. And because of a bombing or something, if it had when it had recently happened, not necessarily realizing the distance, that they could go to, like travel down to Nice, hasn't had any terrorist, issues. But also the flip side to that, Americans as a whole are more determined not to let that bother them too. So, we've also seen the increase
What
on
besides
international
the
travel.
Eiffel Tower can I do in Paris?
There's the Arc de Triomphe, which is beautiful, the Louvre that just showed.
Yeah.
And you can I highly recommend at least spending a good half day, if not a full day, in the Louvre to go down and see it. You can actually get a 2-day pass because you cannot see everything that the Louvre offers in one day.
What's in there?
A lot of paintings, architecture, sculptures.
Take a boat ride like this too?
Yes,
if you want?
you can take a boat ride. Arc de Triomphe is on this one to the right.
Okay.
You can go and see tons of theater, very high class, nice theater there. The Notre Dame is there, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
There's tons of culture, tons of beauty there.
So you're talking about like all arts and culture, basically.
All arts, culture, food. There's a ton of foodies out there that,
Goes without
food
saying.
and wine,
Food and wine.
definitely. And just to experience the culture and atmosphere there in Paris is completely different. And then I highly recommend, if you are in Paris, to do the high-speed tunnel. The Eurostar, and go into London, even just for the day. You can do that.
What's
I've
it
done
called?
that many. It's called the Eurostar, and it's a high-speed train that runs
bullet
between.
train,
Yep, exactly, between Paris and London.
Goes under
Under the channel.
Under the channel.
Yep, exactly.
How long does
and
it take?
It
to get
takes
from
it
point
takes
A to point B?
normally, depending on speed and time of day, usually about 50 minutes. So it's very, very quick. If you tried to do like the bus out to the channel and then boat across, and then, that can easily take 3 to 4 hours to do. But you can do
but
the
if you
channel.
got time on your hands.
Right. Or do one way and come back the other, and then you get to see different
you can do
countryside.
different aspects of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay. Camille Sanders is here. Chic Romance Travel is the name. Chic is in, very chic. She's very chic. 436 MeTV option 11. Back in a moment.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy.
Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV.
Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
All right. So, Camille, you were saying you do payment plans?
Yes, payment plans.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
So, because, I just was saying I just booked a trip over to Boston over the summer, and it wasn't cheap. Okay, I booked 6 months in advance, so
right.
it wasn't cheap. So talk about your payment plan.
Right. We offer an
with interest.
No. Actually, we don't charge anything additional. We have what's called an easy payment plan. So, like for instance, I just got through doing a couple bridal shows here in the Valley, and have been booking a lot of honeymoon travel for this next year. And what's been great about it is they've been able to put down a deposit on their package, and
what
most
did
of them
put down by, if you don't mind me asking?
No, a deposit. Like I had a couple going to the Bahamas, and for their package, they were able to put down $150 per person.
Okay.
And then break up the rest of the remaining amount per month. Monthly.
And
then
the
have
monthly
it,
tab would be how much?
I think their monthly tab figured out right around like $175 a month.
That's cheap.
Which is cheap. And to have it paid off 60 days prior to travel.
Really?
So, yes, exactly. So you can really, and people think that, oh, there's no way I can travel. It's too expensive to travel. Different excuses for it. But if
that's like a 175. That's less than a car payment for some
definitely
people.
Right. And a lot of times, if you're booking it out, and like the couple I'm talking about that's going to the Bahamas,
don't mention their names.
I definitely won't mention names. But they're traveling in April, so they're traveling pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if you were booking your travel, because you can still book travel over a year out, but just not the airfare yet.
Okay.
So you can book what we call a land package, where it includes your hotel, your transfers from the airport to the resort round trip, and then we can always add the airfare on down the road.
So why do you? I had pulled some video of beautiful San Diego. I mean, of all. I mean, look, if you're going to go to Southern California for a trip, why would you want to go to L.A.?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, no, San Diego is the
Disney.
place.
If you have small kids,
right.
Of course you want to do Disneyland.
Right.
Everybody does.
Well,
if you don't do Disneyland, then you're a little cuckoo. But
yeah, well, but
you know what
can
I mean.
also
So you have to do Disneyland at least once if you have kids.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And you can still do San Diego, rent a car, and drive up to.
San Diego is the place in
Disneyland.
Southern California.
Right.
Why the Chargers moved to LA is beyond me. But San Diego is so beautiful in so many ways. It's not just San Diego proper, but there are so many things to do. Why don't you book domestically? Why can't you book domestically? Why do you only specialize in overseas trips?
Overseas trips. Most people domestically can, they book their trips on their own, or especially for Californians, instead of us to fly from Fresno down to San Diego, which a lot of times can be pretty costly for flights out of Fresno.
Yeah.
We have a tendency as Californians to drive to the larger cities, whether it's San Diego, San Francisco, LA, Sacramento, to fly out internationally. But domestically, most people will just take off and drive down to San Diego. So they're not having to rent a car. They're keeping the flight. You don't have to do flights. So just to do a hotel for somebody, my services are better fit for an international
They are.
market.
And you've been doing that for just specializing in international for how long?
Specializing for over 12 years, but I've been doing international travel for over 25 years.
Okay, but I mentioned in the monologue too that you book entire wedding parties. That
Yes.
could include up to 100 people.
Yeah,
How do you
actually
do
more
that?
than that.
Okay, how do you do that?
It's called destination weddings, and what we have found is
That's your specialty?
Specialty destination weddings, romance travel, honeymoons. Somebody celebrating, 5-10 year anniversary, I can help
20
them
years,
with
30 years,
20 years,
whatever.
whatever it is, or even family travel. I still do family travel too, but with destination weddings, what we have found, it's really a growing market over the last, I would say 10 to 15 years. Couples, getting married locally, whether, all of California, LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, all throughout the area, it becomes very costly when you start having to rent the venue, cater the food, bring in a florist, photographer, all of that.
You do all of that?
I help
you
do.
You book the photographer.
Yes.
The catering.
For international, we usually work with somebody on site that does all the wedding day planning. So we partner up with affiliates in those particular destinations that we work with. And so what happens is once we get the wedding date locked in, then I start booking the bride and groom for their travel, getting them taken care of, and then all of their guests. And what we have been finding for a destination wedding, domestically, an average wedding in the U.S. on average is $35,000.
An average wedding booked through you.
No. But just an average wedding. Like if one of your children wanted to get married locally,
in Fresno, it's going to be about 35 grand. Okay,
right, on average.
But to book a wedding overseas would be how much?
Usually, most of the packages are $8,000 to $10,000 is average for a destination.
Cheaper than what you may have find here.
Yes, so a couple can actually save $15,000 to $20,000.
By going overseas.
And then
I find that hard to believe.
Actually, it's not. It's quite amazing. And then to top it off, when you get married locally as a couple, because I've done this, as a couple, what happens is your wedding list keeps growing, 100, 200 people to do it domestically.
So how do you book 200
local
people into, say, a hotel?
We work with quite a few hotels that have large venues, but what I was going to say, by having a large guest list like that, by doing a destination wedding, you can definitely cut down, as a bride and groom, they cut down that guest list because not everybody is going to fly
to
and
Florence.
or Mexico or Jamaica. They're not going to fly international. So that for the bride and groom, a handful of close family, friends, they take off and go. And most of my wedding groups I do a lot of destination wedding groups. A lot of them are 75 to 100 plus people are still traveling. But it cuts down the cost for the bride and groom.
All the bride and groom, all they have to do, or if they're celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary, all they have to do is place a call to you and say, you know what, Camille, I'm going to Athens, Greece for my 30th wedding anniversary, and about 150 people are going with me.
Yep.
Click.
And then click.
And then what? About 10 days later, you call me back and say it's all taken care of? Is that how it works?
Definitely what'll happen is you call me or you email me or you find me on social media, and then we'll set up a 20-minute phone call to make sure it's a right fit. Because some couples think that Athens, but they want to do it on a $2,000 budget, which we need to make sure that expectations and stuff are there.
Right.
But definitely can talk. It doesn't cost anything to chat about your trip and really see if it's a good fit for you, a good fit. If we can work together, things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the bullet train, because you mentioned the bullet train from
Eurostar.
The Eurostar. Okay, going to London from.
Right.
You're going
Paris to London.
Paris to London.
Yep.
It's under the channel. They're talking about a bullet train here. I'm going to ask you something. No, I have to ask you.
Let's not get on that subject.
No, we have to. I have to. I mean, you're here. I have to. Okay, you rode the bullet train.
Yes.
Okay. Is that bullet train going to work here?
My
Can they
honest,
do it here?
My honest opinion, no, I don't think so. And I actually had this conversation with my cousin in San Jose like a week and a half ago.
Why isn't it going to work
and
here?
He thinks it's going to be great. And they keep saying what they've heard in the Bay Area, they live in San Jose, that this train is basically going to be coming from like San Jose area and come directly to Madera, which is just north of Fresno. So, and he thinks it's great because, you know, those people living in the Bay Area are able now to purchase homes in the valley, take this high-speed train to work and come back, you know. And I said, you know, I can see that for them. It definitely cost of living, keeping that cost down. But for us as California, especially for us in the Central Valley, and my family, we're big ag, you know, agriculture. My dad's a farmer. Anyways, so to see for us in the, you know, in California, especially Central Valley, I don't see it to work because people are so used to driving. And for us just to hop a train, make sure the times match, it's easier for us. And I told him, I said, for instance, like this trip that I took a week and a half ago to visit him and my aunt and uncle, I said, for me to take the bullet train, I wouldn't have been able to come because I was going for that conference that evening with one of our travel wholesalers. And I said, it's easier for me to jump in the car, drive to San Jose, visit you guys for a couple hours, then go to my meeting and then drive home. I said, you know.
But if people are using it in Europe, in Spain, in China, Taiwan, Japan, why can't it work here?
And one of my things that I think is in those particular areas, gas is very expensive, like in Europe. Gas is really expensive in Europe to purchase. Here in the States, we think it's expensive, but it's not expensive compared
I found
to
that out
different
when I went to
areas, right? And when somebody travels to Europe and says, oh, I just want to rent a car, it's like, you know, okay, you can rent a car, but it's going to be, you know, the gas is going to catch you.
Hey, if somebody lives in Israel and they want to visit the U.S., can you book that flight?
No.
Or do you just do the opposite from here over there?
Opposite. And I will advise clients because we do with destination weddings. We get, when I do weddings,
you get out of state, out of U.S., out of country phone calls.
Right, because family are extended around the world, and I'll let them know it's better for you to go.
So you can't book a flight from Tel Aviv to Fresno and back?
I can, but it's going to cost them more.
Gotcha.
If it's not originating for any travel agent or agency, if it's not originating in the United States, the U.S. will tack on an additional tax for them to fly somewhere else here.
So here's what I'm getting out of you before I go to break today, is that more people are traveling today, and they're not afraid of terrorism.
Right.
And they want to do the bucket list thing, and they want to do the family thing. And millennials are traveling because they want to build those memories with their children.
Right.
More, and people are traveling more so than they did in the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Definitely.
They are?
Yes.
Wow. For all the reasons I just mentioned.
Right, exactly. Plus, you know, cost of living, even with cost of living and stuff, things.
Yeah, so the heck with that Mercedes we were going to buy. We're going to Greece.
We're taking the grandkids to Greece.
All right, all right. And so your phone number before we go to break.
Sure, 800-432 1752.
Say that again.
1-800-432-1752.
You got it. Okay, we'll come back and we'll take you on a tour of more cities. We only got about 20 minutes left, so no bullet train in California, my friends. It's not going to work. That's not according to me. I don't know anything about it. 436 MeTV option 11. Back in a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV Appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Back here on the show, Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. We do have a caller. Let's take it real quick here because I have a lot more video to go through here. I want to talk about all these various cities here. Caller, you're on the air. Quickly, what's your comment? Short on time now.
I just wanted to compliment your guest, John, on her integrity and her knowledge of world events, and really don't try to change your mind. Don't fall under the spell there at Ventura TV guest. You're right on.
Mr. Merced.
You have it right on. You understand. Again, thank you for your insightful comments on HSR and why it won't work here in California. Again, John, listen to her. She's been around the world. She's a travel agent. She knows what she's talking about. You're self-admitted. You're just a host, but don't try to change your mind.
Unbelievable.
Listen to her words. Again, thank you for your show. Wonderful guest. Wonderful guest. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And give out your phone number one more time. Wonderful guest.
1-800-432-1752.
You know, I had an inkling as soon as I mentioned high-speed rail that Mr. Merced was going to be calling. The one and only, there's only one Mr. Merced.
We appreciate it.
436 MeTV option 11 here on the program today. Roll a videotape. Which one should we take here? Let's do Athens. We've been talking about Athens. Let's do Athens. Obviously, I've been there. I don't know all about Athens, but beautiful. You know what? One thing I noticed about Greece is, and it's just when you go on these cruise lines, the water is crystal clear. It just looks so blue, and it's like you can almost see underwater. I mean, I don't know if there's any other place on Earth you can do. Hawaii is one place. Hawaii you can see under.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, it looks like bathtub water.
Exactly.
It's great, only with the blue.
Right.
Okay, we know about the Acropolis, the Parthenon, obviously, and there's so many things to see and do in Greece. I went all over Greece. I went to the northern part, the southern part, and there's the Acropolis right there.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. Has the Parthenon been rebuilt yet? Is it complete?
I don't believe so. I think they're still.
Because when I was there, they were still working on it.
Yeah, I think they're still working on it.
Yeah. But go ahead. Talk about Greece.
Greece is a beautiful area. So
is this one of the biggest destinations for people?
A lot of times for honeymooners, second honeymoon. You know, older generation that would like to go and see. This is always on a bucket list. So it's a great place to go visit. Highly recommend, doing a cruise around the islands. Once you get there, it's incredible to see.
Yeah, we went to all the islands, of course. There's Santorini, there's Mykonos, there's Rhodes. I forget some of the other islands, but you can do the thing about Greece is if you're really into history.
Right.
There is so much history there. Like there's this one city that I remember that we went to. It's called Mycene. Mm-hmm. We saw the ruins there. It's one of the oldest finds in the world that dates back centuries. I mean, just thousands of years that people lived there. And from there you can go any place in Europe. Basically, you can go to Israel if you want, which we did. But other things to do in Greece besides sightsee?
Shopping is really good there. The food is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just the architecture, history. There's so much there, and it's so diverse. Great scuba diving in some of the locations around like Mykonos and stuff like that too. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is it easier with that new airport that they built? And it's not so new anymore, because when I went to Athens, I flew into Athens at the old airport, which was in a small city or right near the airport, right near the water. It's called Glyfada. That's the name of the city. It's like a little suburb of Athens. How is the new airport? Is it much better than the older one?
Definitely much better.
How so?
The traffic flow and moving people in and out it's much better there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. The one thing that people have to get used to that I know a little bit about traveling overseas, whether it's Brazil or Greece or Germany, people smoke.
Yes. Yes.
Anywhere, anytime,
Yes.
any place.
And especially for us as Californians, where you don't go in a restaurant and there's somebody smoking in the booth behind you. Here, yes, smoking is throughout Europe is huge.
Yeah, it really is. Because
It
when I
really
flew
is.
into the airport there,
Yeah.
Camille, I mean, there was the airport looked almost like
Hazy.
a boxing venue.
Yes. Very
with
hazy.
a hazy cigar smoke going through it, and I looked at that and I told my wife, I said, "My God, we're breathing all that. Look at that." So you have to
Right.
get used to that.
You do have to get used to that. Speaking of the new airport, the ventilation, a lot of the airports have better ventilation.
Yeah.
And some of the restaurants have added better ventilation since, 15, 20 years ago.
All right, another piece of videotape. Amsterdam. Is this a huge roll of videotape on Amsterdam? Is this a huge destination in the Netherlands? Because you have so many places like within. You got Belgium right nearby there.
Right.
You got Rotterdam. You got The Hague. What's so great about Amsterdam? I've heard so much about it. Never been there. You been there?
I haven't been to Amsterdam, but I used to do a lot of travel for.
People want to go there.
They do, especially.
Is it the name?
Especially the college crowd.
What, is it just the name?
I think
Oh, the
so.
name
To some
Amsterdam is
it's great.
Yeah, like
different reviews.
Well, what's
and,
great about it?
And sometimes even for travelers like us,
Yeah.
John, when we haven't been able to travel in our college years, Amsterdam was always on the top of that list.
I wonder why.
There's a lot of things that good and bad in Amsterdam that you
Like
can do.
what? Tell me the bad stuff first.
It's definitely a party city in some areas, definitely.
It's like a college town, like San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, kind of to some extent.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of drinking, partying.
A lot of drinking, smoking.
Partying.
Yeah, streets you want to stay off of at night. If you're not looking for, certain
bar
type
hopping.
certain type of a company.
I get your drift.
Yeah, exactly.
Say no more, my friend.
Yeah, but other than that, it's beautiful. It's very, like you can see, it's very colorful.
A lot of history.
Tons of history.
Yeah, tons of history there besides what you just mentioned.
Right.
And a lot of museums there.
Definitely.
A lot of shops
it is
there.
a place to go see.
Yeah, and this is a place that has a lot of churches as well.
Definitely.
From what I was reading on the internet. Again, I haven't been there, heard a lot about it. But once you go there, you can see the history if you have time. See, that's one thing about Europe is that it's almost like Europe is almost like the United States. It's like if you're in Amsterdam, you can cross the line and go into Belgium.
Right.
And you're there in just a couple of hours.
Exactly.
And you're in a different city.
It's not like California where you drive from the top to the
No.
bottom and it takes you, 10 to 12
No, I mean,
hours if you're driving
So
through.
if you fly into Amsterdam, enjoy the sights, the food, the partying,
Right.
the history.
Yeah.
But then you can go into other parts
And with
that are
the-
close by.
And with the train system there, it is
The bullet train.
Just a regular Eurail train.
Okay.
You can get around very easily going from one city to another.
Okay,
So-
so give us one reason to go to Amsterdam. The younger crowd, millennials.
Definitely millennials will enjoy Amsterdam, but even any generation will actually enjoy it. There's something there for everybody.
All right, I want to do
So-
one more video. I maybe saved the
Cabo.
best for last for you.
Yes.
I haven't been there, but Cabo San Lucas. Roll the videotape. Give me one darn good reason to go there. Would that be it right there? That water?
It's actually that looks really good in that picture. It's really not quite that nice. but-
Polluted?
No, it's not polluted.
Okay.
It depends on which side of Cabo you're looking at because you have the Pacific and then the Gulf there that are
Right.
coming together as far as waters. But the water there is, for the most part, a darker blue. Just like we have like over in Carmel or Monterey, it's the
Gotcha.
Pacific. But the beaches.
But it's warmer water.
It is to some extent warmer water.
What's there to do there? I've just heard you just hang out on the beach there. Is that it? Is that all you do in Cabo?
No, and not.
What do you do in
And
Cabo?
in fact, in Cabo, there's very few spots that you can actually get in the water because the current is. The undertow there is so bad because of the way that Cabo, hooks around at the bottom there and just the tides in the water. So there's only a few spots that you can actually swim. Beautiful beaches, but there's tons of stuff to do there.
Such as? Give me a list.
Golfing is big. Fishing, if you're into fishing, marlin fishing, different things like that. That is a great location. Something my very first visit to Cabo was probably 20 years ago, and seeing it there, and I just went again in June, and things have definitely changed, grown up. They have a great marina area with tons of restaurants to go and see. You can go out to Lover's Point, take a boat ride, glass bottom boat.
Who's going to Cabo these days?
A lot of people. West Coast for us, it's about 3.5 hours and you're in Cabo versus, going across to Mexico or to Cancun or Jamaica where, it takes you, I just got back 2 days ago from Cancun, Riviera Maya area and literally flew out of Fresno at 6 in the evening and didn't get there until 6 a.m. the next morning. So
I could have flown to New York in that amount of time.
Yes, exactly. So
less time.
for us to go down to Cabo, it's a great destination to go internationally and not have to take a lot of time to get to. But it is a desert location, which if you've never been to Cabo and you've been to other parts of Mexico, like Puerto Vallarta, where you have the tall mountain
I was going to ask you about
peaks.
that. So which one would you pick, Puerto Vallarta or Cabo?
I personally like Puerto Vallarta better. There's a lot more to do there. Zip lining, rappelling down a waterfall, which I've done. They have an incredible through Adventure Tours water slide. It's one of the biggest water slides in the hemisphere, to the point you have to wear a ski mask and elbow pads.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did that a couple of years ago. But
wow, you did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But Puerto Vallarta has the contrast between.
Is that something you do when you're like 20?
I'm not too far off that, no.
You're 22, aren't you?
That's right, 22.
22.
Yeah. But anyways, they have the contrast of contrast of the mountain peaks along with the water and stuff. But Cabo is very desert-like.
Okay, let me ask you about another desert-like area. Are people asking to go to the Holy Land, Israel?
A few of them are, and there's some great companies out there that do Holy Land tours.
Okay, because is it mostly older people and not the millennials?
Yeah, mostly older. Yeah, usually 50 and above.
50 and above, they want to go to Israel.
Yep.
Because they want to see where it all started.
Where it all started, and normally by then, most of the time, their kids are off and gone, or, especially if they're in their 60s.
Well, why don't people want to travel domestically?
Actually, people do travel.
There's so much to see in this country.
There is, and people do travel domestically. They, especially if you're getting away. Most of the time, it's for visiting, things like that. But there still are those people that have bucket lists for the U.S. too.
Because there's so much to see here, like the Grand Canyon,
right.
Yosemite, Yellowstone, all the national parks.
Right.
Then you've got obviously the historic cities like Chicago, Boston, New York,
right.
D.C. Obviously, it's a
Definitely
big
huge.
one.
Right.
Philly has a lot I Florida,
Seattle. There's tons of places.
There are places in the South too.
Alaska.
That are big too. I mean, there's a lot of history in this country.
There is.
The Revolutionary War, the Civil War.
Right.
What am I leaving out here? I don't know. You tell me.
There's
tons of places.
There's tons of places to go, domestically.
Yeah. You can go to the Rocky Mountains and see a lot.
Yeah, but
Grand Canyon. For
right.
God's sake.
Exactly. But yeah, and and travel has definitely changed over the course of the, really since 9/11, things have really changed, for us on our own
airline
domestic
safety and all that.
Yeah,
what you can
domestic travel, versus international travel. It's kind of becoming both.
So, quickly, a yes or a no. Do you book Alaskan cruises?
Yes.
You do?
And I've done a couple of Alaska cruises myself.
And your phone number one more time because we're out of time here.
Sure. 800-432-1752.
All right. And that's Chic Romance Travel. It's Camille Sanders. Camille, thank you. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you so much, John.
Thanks. Come back again.
Yes, I'd love to.
Give us an update.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. Thank you for being with us. See you back tomorrow. Another edition of Connect with Me. It'll be Walter Salvari with the SPCA and a member of the Fresno Unified Teachers Association, an update on the potential strike. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.